Okay. What's everybody? What's up, everybody? My name is Damien, also known as Inkbydamz. I posted a story. I will input of Q&A questions to ask me. This will be my first YouTube video, so bear with me, guys. So let's just jump right into it. First question is, what is your name? Where are you from? And how did you get into tattooing? And why do you love it so much? So again, my name is Damien. I'm from Kaneohe, the east side of Oahu. How did I get into tattooing? Tattooing is something that I've been wanting to do since I guess I was a kid. As far as actually executing that, it didn't happen until later on in my life. I was surrounded by tattoos growing up. My dad used to do tattoos. My uncle used to tattoo. So I guess it was kind of like that inspiration growing up that kind of led me to tattoo. I was also a very artistic kid. I used to draw a lot. I took art classes in high school. So that kind of gave me like that kickstart, I guess, as far as like my artistic talent goes. What was your first tattoo? My first tattoo, it's this humble tattoo right here. I got it the day after I turned 18. I got it done at the Edge tattoo shop in Waipahu. Very impulsive. It was a very impulsive tattoo. I don't know why I got it. It's, you know, everybody just gets that itch, I guess. As soon as they turn 18, they want to get a tattoo. For me, it was more so the fact that I had to wait till I was 18 to get my first tattoo, that I really just wanted to do it, I guess. What got you into tattooing? The drive to use my talent as an artist to be able to make money, for one. Freedom, if you will, I guess, is another factor. Being able to tattoo, it doesn't feel like work. It feels more so like I'm doing it for me. It's fun. I enjoy it. It doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like I'm working a 9 to 5. Really, I'm only working a couple of hours during that session for your tattoo and make that money. Yeah, I'm not working 8-hour shifts every day just to make $100, which is what most people are making. But then again, money is not everything, but it does help. What sparked your inspiration to become a tattoo artist? What sparked my inspiration? I would say, let me change that question up a little bit. I'm going to tell you what that push factor was for me, I guess, to become a tattoo artist, to actually push myself to do it. One day, I was at a job site and I was scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, you know, as I usually do for like various things, trucks, just miscellaneous parts, anything really. And this tattoo machine came up. It was a wormhole machine, the full tattoo kit, ink, fake skin, a couple of cartridges, everything you basically need to start tattooing. I messaged that person that day, on the clock, mind you, and they were down to meet within that hour. And so I got approval to leave that job site to go pick up that machine, picked it up, secured the bag, went home, and, you know, just started testing it out. The first tattoo that I did on myself, actually, no longer visible. It was in red ink. It was my middle name on my middle finger, which is now covered up with loyalty. And yeah, so yeah, that is what really pushed me, is just seeing that sign basically to do it. I took the sign and I ran with it, and here I am today. Did you always know you wanted to be an artist, or did tattooing come later? For me, I kind of always knew that I wanted to be a tattoo artist. As far as when I was actually going to do it, I didn't know. in my perspective, at least before, my mindset was that there's so many tattoo artists on this island. This island is so small, so clientele is already scarce as far as like getting new clients, because I feel like everybody knows somebody who does tattoos, just like how everybody knows a barber already. It's kind of like a loyalty thing, and I respect that. So that's why I feel like it was very hard, and there's a lot of competition in this industry, as far as like actually getting good clientele. That's really up to you at the end of the day, how hard you push. So that's exactly what I'm doing. What is the weirdest tattoo request you've ever heard of? I've never done it, but the weirdest tattoo request I have gotten personally was to do a fly on somebody's fly. Yeah, didn't do it. Never will. No thanks. Sorry. Turn that down. Do you secretly judge people who ask for infinity symbols or feathers? I don't judge anybody, honestly, for any tattoo that you're gonna get. The one thing that I will say though is, if I feel like the tattoo doesn't fit well in that placement that you want it, or if I feel like it could look good somewhere else or in a different style, I will voice that to you. As far as getting what you want to get tattooed, that's up to you. This is your body. It's going to be on your body forever. So at the end of the day, it's really your decision as far as like what you want to get tattooed. If it's an infinity sign or a heart or feathers or something very simple, if it's Pinterest tattoos, go for it. There's no harm in that. It's your body again, and it's for you. If it means something to you, and even if it doesn't, tattoos don't always have to mean something. I feel like that's a stigma or like a stereotype in tattoo culture that everything has to have a meaning. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Sometimes for people, it's more of like a phase in their life or like an era in their life that they've gone through that tattoo will represent. It doesn't necessarily have to mean something or have a great meaning to it. It'll just represent them in that point in their life. I've got a few, So if I cry halfway, do I get a discount? No, you do not get a discount. As far as tolerating pain, that's up to you. That's how much you can handle. As far as tapping out, if the pain does become too unbearable, then that's up to you. I do charge by the hour. So wherever we stop is kind of what you would pay. But yeah, definitely don't push yourself too hard. If it's really painful, then know your limit. It's no harm, no foul. There's no hard feelings. On top of that, I get a lot of people asking me about numbing cream. Numbing cream, I will say, is good for you in a sense. It just depends on how you use it. If you put it on right before you come in for your tattoo, or if you already had it on for about an hour or so before you come in, just know that the before process, before you get your tattoo, it varies, per person. It can take half an hour, sometimes it can take an hour, it can be super quick and take 5 minutes. As far as placing the stencil, we're not always going to get it right. We're human. It's not always going to be perfect the first time. Good thing about stencil, you can always redo it as many times as you need to until it's perfect. With that said, as an artist, for me, I will say that because I charge hourly, just take into account that certain numbing creams will make your skin rubbery. That may not make sense to you, but as an artist, when the needle punctures the skin, the lines don't always come out as thick as they're supposed to be with that specific tool that we're using. In tattoo culture, I guess if you're using a 7, for me, I've noticed that it comes out like a 5. To kind of dumb it down, there's like a certain thickness, so 7 needles looks like 5. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're really trying to get those bolder lines, just for some people, the numbing cream will tend to make the skin kind of reject it, if that makes sense. Just know that you just gotta be patient. You gotta have that mindset that you have to be willing to take a little bit longer in a tattoo if you're using numbing cream. Also know that numbing cream doesn't last for your whole session. I'd say if you're getting a tattoo, be open and willing to feel the pain of the process of getting that tattoo. What is your end goal? My end goal as far as tattooing would definitely be to be well known, you know, to be financially free, not having to work that 9 to 5, you know, I kind of mentioned that before. This doesn't feel like a chore to me. It's definitely something that I know I want to do and I don't plan on stopping. So as long as these two hands work, actually as long as this hand works, I'm gonna continue to tattoo. As long as my eyesight is good and I don't go blind, I'm gonna continue to tattoo. Even if I have to, if I lose my right hand, I do want to learn how to tattoo with my left hand, because I feel like being able to tattoo with both hands is badass. As far as social media goes, you know, everybody has that like goal that they want to get to all the way up there, a certain amount of followers. Honestly, I just want to take it as it goes. If you love my content, I love your support. You know, that's just how it goes. To me, it's not really about numbers. I don't expect to hit 1 million followers. I don't expect to hit 100,000 followers. It's more so of just getting myself out there. I want to be more of a familiar face, a familiar name to people, mostly down here. I would love to be able to travel and tattoo, do different conventions in different states, you know, get my name out there in somewhere other than just on this rock, you know. What is your recommended aftercare routine? For me, what I recommend is, I'm going to state the obvious, you know, stay out of salt water for at least 2 weeks after you initially get the tattoo, because salt water can dry out your tattoo and draw out the ink. Limit your sun exposure. You know, it's pretty straightforward as to why. As far as like what cream or like ointment to use after your tattoo, I usually say to let your tattoo air out for the remainder of the day that you got it, the next day, and then either that next day in the evening or the day after, start putting on your ointment. A lot of people recommend Aquaphor. I feel like Aquaphor is a very common, it's definitely probably the most common ointment to use. But for me, I recommend Inkbydamz as far as keeping moisturized, just because it's more of a lighter coat. It's not as thick as Aquaphor is. Aquaphor is kind of more of like a petroleum paste, if you will. That's just me personally. I like to use Inkbydamz personally. It doesn't feel like kind of like oily on me or anything. It feels like a lotion, but it's still keeping your tattoo moisturized and nice. I'm worried about sanitation. Could you break that process down for me? As far as sanitation goes, it is literally our job to make sure that everything is sanitized before, during, and after your tattoo. As far as before, everything that gets set up, everything that's on our tray or like laid out for us on our table is just for you. The machine gets wrapped for every client. The napkins are all new. Everything is a fresh coat of saran wrap. Our bottles get wrapped with new wrap. Basically, also to show you, these are tattoo cartridges. It's sealed for every client. Every time we use one, it's a new needle. So we're having that fear of sanitation, I guess, is you really wouldn't have to worry about it, just because everything in here in a tattoo shop, ideally, professionally, would be all sanitized. As far as during your tattoo, Everything is to the T, very sanitized, only for you. Gloves come off, you know, or we're gonna do something else, and then wash hands, gloves go back on. So that's also not something you have to worry about during your tattoo. As far as after, it's gonna get cleaned with green soap, you know, everything that we have. We're gonna wrap it if we need to, just to get you home, or if you plan to go somewhere else before going home, it's gonna be wrapped. And then after that point, it's up to you to take care of it. We will give you advice or like the aftercare process breakdown. That's for you to follow. So yeah, again, everything is sanitized. Everything is going to be sanitized, and everything after your tattoo, when we break down, is wiped down, clean and sanitized, and ready for the next person, whenever that next tattoo will be. Will my tattoo still look the same a couple months after I get it? Yes and no. I will say that if a tattoo is pure black, like Polynesian, if it's pure black, the pure blacks will be still black. It will definitely not be as black as it was when you first got it, but after the healing process, it will still be that really, really pitch black dark tone. If you know somebody that got tattooed, that's a pitch black tattoo, you'll know that obviously after it heals, it'll look different. As far as gray tones and shading, that's a different story. Shading can look dark at first and very saturated when you first tattoo, when you first get your tattoo, but after a couple weeks, a couple months of healing, those tones will actually settle down to what it's supposed to be. So for example, if I'm doing a tattoo that involves shading, that 75% ink and 25% water it may look like 95%, maybe even 100% black sometimes. But after it's done healing, it will dilute and it will drop down to that tone that it's meant to be. So depending on your drop system, it's going to drop down to what it's supposed to be as far as the tone. Pricing and rate. My pricing is by the hour. My rate is $130 an hour currently. As of October 1st, 2025, I will be upping my rate to $150 an hour. So if you're seeing this and it is still September of 2025, get at me for my $130 an hour rate. How long is this going to take? I get this question a lot as far as the inquiry process. It's very hard to tell you exactly how long something is going to take, especially if it's in art. Art doesn't necessarily have a time frame. As an artist, I do understand that you may have a budget as far as like how much you're willing to spend. Communicate that with me, and then I will tell you what we can do within your budget, like what I'm comfortable with promising you that we can get done in that time frame. As far as like Polynesian, it does take a long time. It's drawing, lining, and shading. All of that, those three things in one session could take 6 to 8, maybe 9 hours. Who knows? Even more. It really depends on the person, how long they sit, how much breaks we take. You know, everybody's different. So as far as giving you an exact time frame of how long that will take, we can only give you an estimate. I can only estimate you how long it'll take, and then from there we can gauge like a price for you. So if I know that I can confidently do something in 3 hours, I will tell you that, and I will give you that price. You know, if we go a little bit over, like 10 minutes over, it's fine. You know, I'm gonna give you that price. What is your process? My process is definitely when the client walks through the door, I get acquainted, I say, hey, what's up? You're here for me, or if you're here with somebody else. But if the client comes in and they're here for me, I have them fill out the consent forms. You give me a few minutes, I'll kind of like measure, kind of clarify what it is you want, where we're putting it, the sizing. I will get all that ready for you. The stencil. During the tattoo, you know, I always like when my clients talk to me. silence. I don't like it. So, talk to me. I don't bite. I'm a very open person. I'm easy to talk to. Don't be shy. Yeah. I always like when my clients talk to me about stuff. I like to get to know my clients on a personal level because you're really not here just for the tattoo. You're here for the experience. It's an experience. You're gonna be here for hours with me. So, kind of break that ice. I like to break that ice. What is your favorite thing to tattoo? My favorite things to tattoo is definitely lettering. So I've done a few lettering tattoos, like the forearm. That's a very popular one. I like to do Polynesian, and I'd like to get into doing more portraits or black and gray. Any idea that you have and that you're willing to get as a tattoo, send it my way. The worst I will say is that I'm not comfortable with doing it, or I will recommend you to somebody who I know can do it. But majority of the time, I will tell you that we're gonna do it. I love doing any type of tattoo. The one thing I don't do is color. So I do have a few artists that I know that do color. So if that's what you're interested in, I will redirect you that way. If you have any more questions that you want to ask me about tattoos or about me, you can go ahead and comment, or you can DM me to book on Instagram at Inkbydamz. I have my TikTok as well. Come get inked by Dames.